Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to be discussing an article that was released last month. It deals with the physiological effects that homophobia has upon its victims. For the first time, research has shown that there's an actual physical effect on teens who undergo homophobic experiences. It increases the hormone levels of cortisol in their systems, and higher cortisol levels can impact depression, anxiety, and have increased thoughts of suicide. So this is the first time that there's actually been data showing that if people hate you, and they say it repeatedly to your face, and create an atmosphere of that kind of hate and discrimination, that it can have a physiological effect on you. Now, I'm sure that most people realize that being exposed to discrimination has a psychological and emotional effect on people. That's never really been in doubt. Knowing that there are people around you that despise you is never good for one's worldview. But this is the first time I think that we've ever seen any kind of data showing that there's a physical effect upon the person who's on the receiving end of that discrimination. Though I got to tell you, as a person who's dealt with a lot of stress in their life, some of it as a form of discrimination, I'm not surprised that it has an effect. Now, it doesn't have as much of an effect on me, probably because as someone who already suffers from depression, I'm kind of already in that place to start with. It just makes it a little worse. But someone who isn't, I can imagine the impact of being pushed in that direction as being a real shock to the system, as to suddenly find yourself in that state of mind that you haven't experienced in the past, could be profoundly negative. I imagine that it's something that I'm glad I never had to live through on that level. It's kind of weird to think that my own depression maybe protected me from the impact of discrimination from others, but I think it did. But these teens, they don't have that. They're just your average ordinary person that wants to get by, that wants to be left alone to live their life the way they want to, who doesn't want to have to hide. And when they come out of the closet, suddenly the world shows them why they were in there to begin with, which, of course, isn't healthy. I'm really looking forward to the day when, say, my friend's grandchildren look at him and me and my female acquaintances and say, "Why did that happen? Why did that go on? Didn't people just accept everybody for who they were?" I'd like to think that in 30 years, maybe, things will be better. Or will there just be another variety of discrimination for people to latch their hate onto? I'm sure there are people who are still banging the racism drum, so I'm sure that there will probably still be people banging the homophobia drum in 30 years. But I can dream, can't I? It's a nice thought, at least. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that the relationship between discrimination has a physiological effect on others? Have you ever experienced this kind of thing yourself? Can you give first-hand accounts of what you experienced under those circumstances? I'd like to know.